Hi friends, it's Sarah Millerhouse here, and I am excited to share another layout that I made for Hip Kit Club. Today I'm featuring a cut file. The cut file is from the January exclusive Cutfiles, and you get those free as a member. And then the cut file is these frames that are on the page. So you get all of these frames in the one cut file, and I just separated them out using the Cricut software and cut them in different colors. And then I'm going to use those to frame both paper and photos. And then up there in the top right corner, I showed right at the very beginning, I used the metal, the woven background metal die to cut the cardstock from the cardstock kit in the January color, or the January cardstock kit, in two different colors. So I cut it in the blue. It's not quite a navy blue, almost like a periwinkle, between a navy and a periwinkle. It's kind of funny. It's a great blue color. And then one of the orange pieces of cardstock. So I cut that using that great metal die. And then here you're seeing I'm just backing some of those frames from the cut file with my photos from a sweet day that we spent at a kind of like an outdoor food festival. And I love these sweet pictures, and it was such a happy day with my family, so I thought it would be fun to make a layout featuring that. So I used these, the cut file definitely helped set up what I wanted my page to look like, and got me started. So that's a great way. Sometimes it's hard to figure out an idea for what you want to do, and cut files often help with that. So this was a great cut file in the January release. And then here I'm just cutting off what I don't need from that piece that I cut using the metal die. And I love how this looks in that frame. And then I do end up on the final layout, I'm going to be popping that up so that you can see the dimension that it adds. And it is kind of like a little bit tricky because the frame is not super thick, and then I didn't want some of those little pieces from the metal die, the piece that you get after you cut it, some of them are very thin, so I didn't want to mess any of those up. So I kind of very gingerly went around and made sure I couldn't see any of the edges behind the frame. Okay, so here what I did is I laid out after I backed, and I skipped ahead a little bit. I didn't make you watch me back all of those frames with patterned paper, but these are all patterned papers from the main kit, the January main kit. And I went ahead and backed all of those, and then I laid them out where I think I want them on the layout, so that I can go and add just a little touch, a hint of mixed media behind the frames. So I traced where all of those would go, and then wrote the color that I thought I might want to use, and then what's supposed to go there, just so I remember where they go, because I knew I wasn't going to remember. Normally I would take a photo of it and keep that off to the side, but because I'm using my camera to video, I didn't want to complicate that. So I just wrote what I wanted to have there, and then I am using all of the beautiful things from the color kit in the January color kit this month. So that first one that I'm using is a Shimmers. So the original formula from Shimmers Paints, it's a Shimmers that comes already wet and super duper sparkly, and that's called Slow Ocean. And then this orange color is an Inklings. It's called Can't Elope, so like cantaloupe, but Can't Elope. Super cute name. And it's an Inklings, so it comes dry and you just add water, and then I kind of let it sit off to the side to activate that color, and it works super easily. And I am just going here, so I traced very lightly. I traced with a pencil where those frames were gonna go, and then I just added the medium a little bit outside where I thought the frame would finish. So I didn't want this to be a super overwhelming mixed media layout. It really is a layout featuring the cut files and the metal dies. So I wanted to have just a hint of that medium, those mediums coming out behind the frames. So I went, just to kind of reiterate that. So I traced around where I wanted them to go, and then I just painted a little bit past that, so that it's just poking out a tiny bit. Hopefully that makes sense. And then this is kind of a messy look, so there's no perfect lines here or anything like that. I'm just kind of going and painting and then adding some splatters and some big dollops around the edges. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be kind of askew and a little bit, excuse me, whimsical. So that pink color is another Inklings that comes dry, and you just add water to activate, and that's called Beats Me. That's a beautiful shade of pink. And then the blue that's in the January color kit is a Vibes. So it's actually a spray, but I used it with a paintbrush to add it to the background. So it turned out a little bit bluer than the blue that was in that paper. So I went back and added a little bit of Creamies from Creamy's Loppy Stance, and that was from, I think, the September color kit. So I went back and added a little bit of blue on top of that, and that really easily helped make the color the correct color. So what you just saw me doing on camera there, I did fussy cut. So that beautiful floral patterned paper is from the January main kit. And so I did fussy cut some of those pieces. And then I also used some of the floral ephemera that's in the embellishment kit. So far I've used mostly things from the main kit, and then just the floral ephemera from the embellishment kit, and then the color kit. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking those flowers that I fussy cut and that floral ephemera, and I am going to create a few clusters there, and I am popping those up on craft foam. So I do have a couple of different levels of craft foam. So some of my craft foam is a little bit thicker and some is a little bit thinner. So I do want when I'm creating clusters of flowers, I do want them to be varied depths, because that helps it look more like a bouquet would. So, or a big spray of flowers. And then if you watch my videos, you know I always say to bend up the edges of the leaves. So I do squeeze the tips of those leaves, and I do curl up or rough up the edges of the flowers to make them look like they're popping off the page. So that definitely helps add texture and dimension to the layout and makes it more interesting to look at than just flat flowers sitting on the background. So I did that on all of the leaves. Everything I add, I pop up, and I usually only add adhesive, like when I'm adding leaves, I only add adhesive to the very end that is going to be attached behind the flower, and then the rest of it is popped up and I don't have it adhered down. So just as little adhesive as possible to make sure that those stick, and then everything else kind of bent up. And then here I'm adding a butterfly that was from the main kit ephemera pack. And then that word thankful, it's a little phrase that actually says words can't express, I think, how, something like that, words, more than words can express, thankful. So that's also from the January main kit ephemera pack. And I loved the flowers and the leaves from the ephemera sets and the patterned paper that I fussy cut. So they're so pretty. Lots of different types of leaves and flowers. Love that. And here I'm creating another second little cluster of flowers below that photo in the top right, around the title, because I kind of want to draw your eye to all of those photos, because all of my photos were kind of up there. So I am drawing your eye up there. And again, I rarely ever glue anything flat to the background, so I am popping up those flowers. And then I don't know if I said anything about the frames, but each of the frames I popped up on craft foam as well. So every frame is popped up either on a thin layer of craft foam or a thicker layer of craft foam. And those are at varied depths as well to add some visual interest. I'm kind of holding that up to see how it's looking. I did have a few other pieces of ephemera that I thought I might use, and then I end up not using them. So here I am going to add this camera. So that's also from the main kit ephemera pack. And you really could use everything just from the main kit. And to make this layout, like as far as the ephemera goes, you could fussy cut all of the flowers from the patterned paper. It was a little bit faster to use because I had those beautiful floral ephemera. I did add that, but you could use that all from the main kit. And then the color kit, of course. All right, and I did go back and add just a touch more, color coming out behind some of those frames, just around the edges. I think just 3 of those. I added just a touch more because I wanted you to be able to see it just a little bit more. And in the still photos, it is kind of hard to see because they're very shimmery, so that background you can't see as well, but it is all there and beautiful, and a great color kit this month. So I'll link everything below for the kits, and go ahead and tap the bell for notifications and give it a like if you enjoyed the video, and hope to see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.